Hey y'all, how's it going? Welcome back to Seed to Play channel. My name is Brooke. Welcome. I'm not gonna lie, I'm making this video because I am avoiding starting seeds for a whole litany of reasons, but you're not interested in those, and that's okay. I've gotten really into my last few videos being like really investigative and just like highly informational. So we're going to continue that today. And since we are either in seed starting season for some of us in the lower zones, or if you're well, lower in geography, higher in number, where it's hot, okay, we are in seed starting season. If you are not in seed starting season, you will be very soon, which just means spring is closer. So today, I don't know that we're going to settle any kind of debate, but I am going to provide you a lot of information on the difference between seed starting mix and potting soil. Now, neither of these are my preferred brands, to be honest with you, but I went to my local Home Depot because that's what most people have access to. Not everybody has access to the amazing amount of garden centers in Austin, Texas, that I do. So, moral of the story, we're going to go through each of these because some people like using seed starting mix, some people like using potting soil, some people sift it, some people will bake it, some people will do all kinds of stuff. So as per usual in the last few videos I've done like this, I'm going to give you the facts as they stand, and then I am going to tell you what I do, and I will go ahead and put chapters at the bottom. So let's start with seed starting mix. Now this does say potting mix, but it says seed starting right there. So this is the Miracle-Gro brand. Again, I bought this because it's very accessible to literally probably anybody in America watching this video. This is not my preferred brand. My preferred brand of seed starting mix is the Lightning Warrior by Fox Farm. Really, really good stuff. I've always had really good success with it. Let's talk about ingredients. Ingredients are very important to any soil mix that you use, but especially seed starting mix. So what we have in this is sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and fertilizer, and a wetting agent. I don't know what that means. It does have an NPK total over here. NPK is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. You will see that kind of stuff on fertilizer, and they all mean different things for different plants and blah, blah, blah. So this seed starting mix identifies two things: that it is good for starting seeds, but also for starting cuttings, and it is specially designed for fast root development. Now, your seed starting mix should always be pretty light and fluffy. I'm doing this over my desk that I work on, so I'm trying not to spill the doit. I spilled it on my keyboard, dang it. It's fine, I'm pretty sure there were food crumbs already on this thing. So seed starting mix should generally be extremely light and fluffy for a couple of reasons. One reason is so that water can get sucked up to it pretty well. So peat moss especially is known for holding water. And for a seed to germinate, you need moisture, you need sunlight, and you need dirt, something for it to grow in, right? Or some kind of medium for it to grow in. So this gives you all those things. Now, the one thing you are generally missing from seed starting mix is plant nutrition. Now, this does have fertilizer in it. However, when a seed first germinates, it actually has all the nutrients it needs for at least a couple of weeks. I have noticed with plants that I have done seed starting with, they generally tend to get nutrient deficient after like week like 3 or 4. So with certain things just need more nutrition than others. So I'll give my opinion at the end. But that is the one downside to seed starting mix, is you're really gonna lack nutrition. However, you are much more guaranteed to do well with germination because of the availability of the light to the seed. Now, let's talk about potting mix. Now, potting mix, you could like put a house plant in this, or like an outside plant. This is what that's meant for. So this is the Kellogg brand. I do like the Kellogg brand. Again, not necessarily my preferred brand. I really like the Ocean Forest from Fox Farm. But this is also pretty good. Like I used this in all my raised beds, like the big bags, not the potting mix, but like the in-ground mix. And generally, I think it's a really good product. So pros of potting mix are you are going to get that nutrition a little bit better, and it's not going to come from like fertilizer. It's just going to come from a really high quality potting mix. Now, you are going to get that nutrition to the seed, which is going to make it last a little bit longer and not let it get nutrient deficient. However, one thing you are going to struggle with potting mix rather than seed starting mix is that you can have these like bigger woody pieces in there because it's not really meant for seed starting. The other problem you can have is if you put your seed a little too deep, just a little bit, just a little too deep, then your seed is not going to get enough light and it's not going to germinate. But let's look at the ingredients for this real quick. This product is regionally formulated with organic materials, including one or more of the following: sphagnum peat moss, processed forest products, arbor fines, perlite organic fertilizer, and dolomite lime as a pH adjuster. In California, and Georgia, and Oregon, and Texas. That's me, I'm in Texas. In Texas, this product contains sphagnum peat moss, processed forest products, perlite organic fertilizer, and dolomite lime. So when we're talking about the organic fertilizer, it's the same thing, NPK. And the fertilizer, instead of being chemically processed, it is from dehydrated poultry manure. So this is going to be your potting mix. Everybody and their brother has an opinion on if you should use potting mix or if you should use seed starting mix to start your seeds. Just know, for me, my personal opinion is I use both. I use both for different things. I find it a struggle to get my pepper seeds to germinate. That tends to be a struggle for everybody. I have the best success doing that when I'm using seed starting mix versus potting soil. And I don't notice that I don't really get many like nutrient deficiencies in my peppers. Tomatoes, however, on the other hand, I tend to notice with seed starting mix nutrient deficiencies starting in week 3 or 4 when I use the seed starting mix versus the potting soil. I'm not really sure why. The way that you know that a tomato seedling is nutrient deficient is when you look on the underside of the leaf. It'll be like a purple color. It's pretty wild when it happens. So moral of the story is I use both. Again, I have my preferred brands and neither of these happen to be it. However, they're not going to go to waste. I'm still going to use them and I'm sure it's going to be totally fine. The other thing is I do prefer to use organic mediums versus non-organic. That's just kind of a personal thing. At the seedling stage, I'm not overly worried about synthetic fertilizers. Is it my favorite thing to happen? No. Am I willing to use synthetic fertilizer to rescue my plant? Yes. Because being organic and growing organically has a lot of other meanings other than just one small piece. And just because you don't do one small piece organically, that doesn't mean that like all is lost. Because when you're talking about organic, you're talking about properly building soil life, you're talking about herbicides, you're talking about insecticides, you're talking about a lot of other things. So while I do prefer to use organic stuff, it's not the end of the world if I don't. So that's all I have for y'all today. A quick little short one. I just wanted to share some general information and some facts based on what I have found in the past. Thanks so much for watching. Happy gardening. We'll see you next time.